This one isn't great. I know going into this question it's going to be annoying because it's asking kind of like for a specific fact or a specific idea that's said in both passages somewhere. And if I don't remember the passages very well, I'm going to need to kind of reread a lot to try to find it. So you might just kind of guess randomly on this if you're running out of time and, not worry about it. But hopefully you do remember enough. I'm going to show you how I think about these choices in a way that prevents me from having to read a lot here in the passage. So we're clearly talking about this teixobactin thing that I've been struggling to pronounce this entire time. What is common between the two passages? A, standardizing the future development. It could be useful in standardizing the future development of antibiotics produced in laboratory environments. Well, what were these passages about? They were about this teixobactin. Were they really about the labs that are finding these things, these antibiotics? Not really. Standardizing is also one of those strong words that I'd kind of be nervous of regardless. It's very specific. They seem to be evaluating this current drug. If they do talk about the future, it's very brief. It's not a main idea, so this makes me nervous. I don't know that I would eliminate this choice right away, but there are some things about it that make me unlikely to pick it. Let's look at B. Combating infections that are no longer responding to treatment with other antibiotics. Well, I do remember that that's kind of the whole point. One thing in particular, if we look at the blurb, a new antibiotic found in dirt can kill drug-resistant bacteria. So right away, just from the title, it's kind of saying this already in passage 1. Without me even having to read a sentence of it or look at passage 2, I know that this is half right. It's a good sign. C, controlling the spread of pathogenic soil fungi. Well, I know the soil thing was coming up, but the whole point was the soil was good. The soil was how we were getting this teixobactin stuff. So the soil isn't the problem, it's the solution. So that's just not going to match with my memory. And D, shaping a new method of studying the effectiveness of antibiotics. Well, it's definitely a new method, right? That seems to be a thing that's repeated, is this teixobactin came about because we tried something different than what we're used to. But it's not about how effective antibiotics are. It's about how we produce them. So it's a new method, but it's not a method for this thing that they're talking about in D. That does not match. So here's where I would stand with this, is I'd love to prove that choice B is right for passage 2. If I can do that, I don't need to really worry about choices A or D, right? Combating infections that are no longer responding to treatment with other antibiotics. Did passage 2 mention this? So let's go there. And let's see. Many good antibiotics come from soil, fungi, and bacteria. It is long suspected that if we could grow more types of bacteria from soil, we might find new natural antibiotics. Okay, that seems good. Skipping around here. It opens a gateway of cultivating a wealth of potentially antibiotic-producing bacteria that have never been grown before. It cures things, so that's good. I'm still not quite hitting it here, though it does hit it. It also killed the tuberculosis bacterium, which is important because there's a real problem with resistant tuberculosis in the developing world. It is also difficult to select teixobactin resistance. So look, is that fair for them to make you find that one line? No, but that's what makes it a hard question. So it's there, and finding it gives me 100% confidence that that is the answer. But before that, I had maybe 60% confidence that was the answer, and so that might just be good enough for me to just be like, all right, let's pick it. Let's try the last 2 questions and see where we are, and if I have time, I'll come back and really look for it, but it might not be worth my time to get from 60 or 50% confidence to 100. Is it really worth those 10 points? Are those 10 worth more than the 20 that are going to come in the next question, or other ones where you could go back and check your work and find points in easier ways? Those are always the decisions you need to make at the end. That is why I think sometimes the double passage can be frustrating, because it's usually sometimes at the end, and that can be annoying, but it's not actually much harder. It's just that, like any passage, it occasionally has hard questions. This is one of them. It's okay for things to be hard. Do the best you can, make smart guesses, and get better at using your SAT strategies for all the other questions, so that in these cases where things are just really tough, you have some things that can nudge you in the right direction. There's a lot of strong words in these other choices that are nudging me towards B, and that's why I would be able to pick it with less than 100% confidence, and that's okay.